now we're going to go back to cinema and we are going to talk Next Goal Wins. Sharon, you want to take this one away?
Yes, this is a film by Taika Waititi. I think that's how you say it.
Taika Waititi.
Sorry, I got it wrong. It's basically about the worst football team in the world, which is American Samoa.
Yeah.
And they were apparently, I don't know much about international football, but apparently there is a notorious game where they were defeated by something like 32 goals to nil. And their dream as a national team is to score a goal. It doesn't matter if they win a match, they just want to score a goal. And they are basically at the bottom of every league known to man. They are at every national side. And their national side is made up of players basically who sort of are fishermen, who work in the shop, they're just like ordinary guys from, they're just like, you play football? You'll do. You can be on the national team. That's the feeling you get. We don't know if it is quite that amateur, but that's the feeling you get, that they are just like a group of plucky amateurs who are just no good. And so they are desperate to have anyone who can help them to sort of get them from this unenviable position of being the worst team in the world. And so into this sort of perfect storm of hideousness in their national game, this man who is a former professional footballer who has got rage issues, bit of an alcoholic, played by Michael Fassbender, who's called Thomas Rongen. He is suddenly thrust upon them. He's part of the American Football League, and he is told, because American Samoa is is American sort of
territory.
Yeah, territory.
And so he has been sent by the American League, go there, coach them for a while, and because basically it's that or nothing. You're either out on your ear or you do this. So he goes along there and tries to sort of whip this team into shape. And while he's doing this, it's not just about football. He learns a lot about life, as it were. So it's that sort of film.
Who'd have thunk it?
So it's he not only discovers the joy of living in this rural community, he discovers about himself as well.
And
so
found that the real magic was inside all along.
Yeah, so it's one of those. And so there is, as all these films, V for Victory and Escape to Victory, and The Mean Machine, the British version, and all these other sort of football, soccer for non-British, non-whatever people.
Yep.
You have a big match at the end. So we do witness their big match, which is them against Tonga, who are their arch rivals in sort of this sort of Pacific Islands. As if you can get an arch rival amongst Pacific Islanders, they are it. And so you have this sort of, ultimate contest of between the plucky underdog and the sort of their cocky neighbours.
Yeah. Oh, so that's it. So sports movies.
I'm out.
Sports movies. Okay, yeah. So I know it's actually based on a documentary of the same name that I have been trying to track down for years. And as I said, I've been waiting for this film for quite a few years because I've heard about it. Taika Waititi, I think he actually filmed this film before he made the last Thor film, but it just hasn't been released. And I reckon that the reason it's being released now is because recently Michael Fassbender came back to acting with The Killer. David Fincher's The Killer, and that came out and made a bit of a splash. I think they're like, oh, okay, cool, quick! Why people remember who Michael Fassbender is? Release this in the cinema. Put this out there. Let people know about this. So yeah, so Sean, what did you think of this?
Yeah, okay. Well, I don't think. I mean, American sports films do quite well, cinematic wise. Although, again, speaking to John, because I spoke to John, to Happy John, he says that they don't do quite so well. American sports movies don't do quite so well in this country as they would in the USA, obviously.
Yeah.
But anyway, so football movies or soccer movies, whatever you want to call them, I don't think translate well to the movies. I don't think. I don't know what it is. I don't know why. Fassbender. He looked like he was in the I don't know. Fassbender's got one.
Uh, you're just gonna add Fassbender to the pile, to the growing pile of
Fassbender, exactly.
award-winning actors you think are a pile of fill in the blank.
Overrated. Yeah.
You write his name on the list and then you put your line through it. It's like,
That's
I'll
it,
put
yeah.
you on my list and I'm crossing you out.
There's Fassbender. Fassbender, you get in there with Stanley Tucci.
You get in there with Stanley Tucci, yeah.
Get in there with Stanley
That's him.
Tucci. Who else it is? There's one other person who you just have an absolute. Jason Clarke.
Jason Clarke, yeah. Mind you, a couple of people I know have problems with Jason Clarke. I've been watching just out of interest, and I know hopefully when it finishes, I've been watching Monarch. And
Monarch, yeah, Legacy of Monsters, yeah.
And I thought it was, who was the actor we just said?
Jason Clarke.
Jason Clarke. I thought it was Jason Clarke, but it's actually Kurt Russell's son.
It's Kurt Russell's son, yeah. Wyatt Russell.
Yeah.
Wyatt Russell,
But anyway, we talk about that when it's
That's who
finished.
any goal wins.
It's the next goal wins. I'll just
Next
you know,
goal
Sean,
wins.
you know what I'm going to do? One of these days, I'm going to get nice and powerful, and I'm going to remake The Magnificent Seven. But I'm going to cast Fassbender, Tucci, Jason Clarke.
Yeah.
I'm going to be like, quick, give me somebody else. Give me someone else he hates.
I think it's some others. So yeah.
All right, cool.
But yeah, so on the whole, I mean, it had a few moments of that I chuckled at a few moments, but I find I'm starting to what's his name? Taika Waititi. What's his name again?
Taika Waititi.
Taika Waititi. I'm starting to find his humour a little bit. It was good to start with Thor, but Jojo Rabbit. But I think it's starting to get on my nerves a little bit because it's sort of the same. It's the same.
He did a cameo, didn't he? And some of his cameos, again, are quite effective.
Yeah.
And this one, I wasn't getting quite convinced by his cameo.
No, that's it.
Yeah, I know what you guys are saying. I know what you guys are saying about Taika Waititi. That it's kind of like it felt fresh at the beginning, like him. I think him and his ideas and his worldview and everything, and his approach. It felt fresh at the beginning, but it feels like it very quickly became a shtick.
Yeah.
It became very quickly became a shtick, and now it feels like that's all he does.
Yeah. That's pretty much. Yeah.
It feels like that's all he does, and there is just something about it that, after a while, and I don't know this for a fact, but after a while, it just starts seeming lazy. It starts seeming lazy, and it starts feeling like you're not actually trying, or you're just doing what you did before, and I've seen this before, and it's actually wearing quite thin, and the fact, but he's done some amazing stuff. That's the thing. And I actually feel like he's somebody who could. I personally, let me not talk for him. Let me just talk about myself. I could do with a break. I could do with a break of a couple of years that hopefully makes me appreciate him a little bit more, and then I come back and I see that. And so there's a bit of me that thought, like, you know, for instance, when you're talking about this next goal wins, one of the reasons I want to see it is because I felt like this could be the smaller type of film that I feel could be a perfect marriage for his approach. Like, this kind of film could be a perfect marriage for his approach. And I really, really hope it is. But from what you guys are telling me, it tells me that I'm hoping in vain.
Well, you may like it. You may enjoy it. But yeah.
One of the other people who was at the secret screening, who I know she goes to all of them with her family, apart from, and then if they don't like it, they leave. They stayed to watch this one. And on her review of it afterwards, she liked it. I was a little bit more... It was entertaining, but for me it was quite forgettable. It was one of those films that, because I know we were sat there thinking about what was the last secret screening we went to, and it was only literally as we left we went, it was about something or other. It took ages to work out what the film was we'd seen.
It did.
And I think this is going to be one of those films. You asked me in a couple of months, what was that film you saw? And I had to look up the name of the film today, and I saw it like 4 days ago. So I know that in a couple of weeks I will not remember this film. And so I think it's fine. You know, there was one use of sort of bad language that I thought was probably unnecessary. But I just thought, on the whole, it was quite an inoffensive. You know, it's quite a pleasant way to spend an hour and a half. It wasn't a long film, but it just didn't grab me. There was no spark about it. And I know that he likes these odd pairings, doesn't he? Taika, where he has sort of like there's like Thor and Kurg. They have these sort of like these odd couples, and there's a couple of those like where Michael Fassbender, he has like this little lad who sort of is like his sort of runner who he sort of has this sort of, who becomes like best pals with, and there's another character who becomes sort of very pally with, who is I suppose to use the modern parlance, is like a transgender character. So he sort of becomes quite pally. So you have these odd pairings, and to me they just didn't have that chemistry. I think they didn't have that. They weren't introduced as charming as I think he thinks they are. And so to me, it just didn't quite have that spark. It was okay, but to elevate it beyond okay, to me, it just didn't have that little spark of joy or that charm, or it was just something to me. It just wasn't.
I think that's it. Charm is the word. Charm is the word, because at his best, his approach is just charming. Is incredibly charming. I still think Hunt for the Wilder People. That is a film that I will defend and I will fight anybody about.
And again, you had that odd couple, didn't you? Where it's just
Hunt for the Wilder People is a beautiful film. It's a beautiful film, and but it's all right. Okay, cool. But I still want to see the documentary that it's based on, because I think the documentary says that this is just like everybody who's I heard about says that you fall in love with this group of people who have such in the grand scheme of things, such a low stake aim that still means everything to them, means a lot to them, and apparently it's just a really, really quite heartwarming. So okay, so how many stars would we give Next Goal Wins, the Taika Waititi version?
For me, probably 3 stars. It's okay. Yeah. It's okay. Nothing.
Yeah, it's
nothing.
Like 3 is one of those. It becomes a huge category, doesn't it? Because I don't think it's as good as my last review, Joe Pickett. It's not as good as that. But yeah, I'd still feel like saying that it's a 3, though they're not on the same par. One is like a good 3, and one of them is like it's a 3.
Yeah,
so I think
that's how I feel. So unless
it's a flat 3.
It's a flat 3. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe we should have a 3.5.
I have to admit, I do feel like 3 is the widest rating that we can get.